And talking a bit more, delving a bit more deeper on what kind of regular work from a sector point of view, not just the intermediaries, but broadly as a disability sector, what do you think what works needs to be done broadly to create efficiencies and understanding and a deeper meaning in the delivery of supports and care across all settings, whether it's a region, whether it's a state or a metro or a region? Which one do you think is more higher priority?
I think there's really for us and for me two kind of key areas that we think the market needs to focus on. The first one is quality. I think everyone within the sector recognises that there's always room for improvement and room for further professionalisation, further quality. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, providers in our sector operate and are there because they want and have a deep passion to support people with a disability, mm-hmm. To provide a quality service that improves mm-hmm. and betters their life. Mm-hmm. And I think as a sector and as a community and providers, a focus on what does quality look like in that setting and how do we constantly look at lifting quality, I think is one area of focus that we need to have very broadly, regardless of whether you're operating in a metro context or a rural or remote or even bespoke mm-hmm. community mm-hmm. setting. The second, I think, is around conflict of interest and managing the competing tensions that naturally exist within the scheme. And mm-hmm. DIA has done a lot of work around conflict of interest and independence of service within the intermediary mm-hmm. Market and settings. But we think there needs to be more focus on how are those conflicts being managed more broadly in the provider market, and what does that look like from both a regulatory compliance perspective, but again back to quality. The intent of the work that we're doing and the work that we think that needs to be done is about lifting the quality within the sector and providing a better service to people with a disability.
Do you see a lot of projects which are happening within the intermediary sector in terms of collaboration across these different organizations, or people stay in their own lane and then see each other as competition?
No, we certainly see a lot of collaboration. It's a commercial market, so there's always going to be proprietary information and a limitation to sharing. Yeah. But in the main, we find that the community is generally quite open to discuss issues. From a DIA perspective, that's one of the functions that we play is to gather that information from providers around the country mm-hmm. and distill that out. We have a view of not everyone needs to make the same mistake. Let's mm-hmm. learn from our mistakes as a sector and then be able to share and grow from that. Mm-hmm. So we run a range of member updates and communities of practices and sessions with members and dissemination of information, mm-hmm. Which is the catalyst for a lot of discussion. We mm-hmm. know that there's a lot of discussion outside of mm-hmm. Of DIA and the work that we do. Mm-hmm. So as a sector, there's a very strong appetite for collaboration, particularly in the support coordination space. It's a constant kind of community discussion about how we can lift quality, deliver better service, or seek feedback on how you might be supporting a participant with a particular challenge or complexity to their service need. Mm-hmm. So it's a fairly commonplace, and I think it's one of the strengths of the intermediary market. Mm-hmm. Obviously, intermediaries in the disability setting really came about because of the NDIS and mm-hmm. the way that the NDIS was created, and mm-hmm. Which means that some of that legacy of competition and going after to grants in previous state systems, etc., really didn't and hasn't applied in our sector. So growing from the early days of the scheme, by nature there needed to be a lot of collaboration to get providers up and off the ground and operating to the levels of quality that they currently do.
Lovely.